Hello, everybody. Welcome. Day three. Day three, meditations and reflections, absorbed in love. My favorite subject. Reflection today. I wanted to talk about, and by the way, if there's noise, just let it bring you to a deeper place. I have Pete here. Here, let me show you Pete. Pete is here every day, by the way. I don't always show you, but he will settle down. He loves this. Here's Pete. This is my little dog, Pete. Pete, do you see Pete? There's Pete. Good boy, Pete. He meditates with us every day. He's down at my feet. There we go. Well, I was thinking today, I know some of you are new, and even if you're not or have been meditating for a long time, let's just think about, acknowledge ourselves for taking this time out and what even just coming into stillness does. Stillness, it doesn't mean silence. Oh, let me turn my phone off. Although it can be silent, you can be in silence. But stillness is this very sweet, still place, like a lake, a glass lake, where there's not a ripple. You know, on a lake, there's just a lot of life teeming underneath. There's fish and plankton and algae and all kinds of life teeming and moving. And yet, on the surface and even under, and there's currents, there's a sense of stillness and quiet. And as you develop that by these times of meditation, that place just blossoms and grows. There's a man named Krishna Das. Maybe some of you have heard of him. And he also, you've heard me talk about a Hindu saint named Neem Karoli Baba and how I started being really set on a path of absorbed in love and loving and deepening that, exploring that, wanting to know the infinity of loving, of God's loving, of the heart of God. And Krishna Das also studied with Neem Karoli Baba, and he brought the sacred chants back. And I went to hear most of his people that follow him are very, very young. They're just coming out of high school angst, and they're in their early 20s or even teens. At least that's who was in the audience when I saw him. And he said this, which I just loved. He said, when you chant the sacred names of God, you'll no longer want to wear black and smoke cigarettes. And I just laughed hysterically at that because it's so true. What that means is when you meditate, you'll no longer be depressed. You'll no longer feel sorry for yourself. You'll no longer judge people like you used to or find fault with or criticize. It melts away sometimes without you barely knowing about it. And yes, we have work that we do on ourselves. It's a constant life. If you choose that life to be a better person, it's a constant thing. And it's a thing of joy. It's a great thing of joy to choose a life of expansion and growth and learning and coming into greater loving. And some of these things like emotional imbalance, depression, or feeling sorry for it just melts away. It's pretty amazing by meditating. So that's what you have in store for yourself. And those of you who've been doing it, it just gets deeper and better, right? And you who've been meditating know that. And it can happen like that for some people. For me, I've been on the slow, gradual process. It's been decades, but I kind of do things slowly anyway. That's just me. I'm kind of a slow person. But I know some of you it'll be overnight and you go, wow, I've transformed, I'm transfigured. And it's so much to celebrate. The other reason to meditate for me is to be in the presence of God, to be in the presence of divinity, not as an intellectual or a mental concept, not as a thought, or not in scripture as a way, although that's beautiful and it's a way to practice devotion and worship, it is gorgeous. But as a real experience alive within you, you develop your relationship with divinity, with spirit, with loving, with peace, as you go inside and bask and infuse yourself with that presence of divinity. So that's why meditate. Even if it's for 30 seconds, 30 seconds. What John Roger used to recommend 2 hours, which I used to do for years and years. But then he said, if you hit the that divine current, that divine sound current of loving, and you hit that, 10 seconds is enough to change your life. So let's meditate. Let's go in the stillness. We'll start with where we always start, the very basic breath. And you can close your eyes if you'd like to, because that helps just tune out the world. My little dog Pete has already fallen asleep. So bring your attention to your breath and let that breath come up right from the base of your spine, up through your torso, your throat, your cranium, and out through the top of your head. Hold it for a moment, and then exhale. Let everything that is not of loving be released. And another breath in, right from the very, very base, the very beginning of your existence. Breathing it up. Letting that divine spark of life infuse every part of you. And exhaling everything out. And again, breathe in deeply, richly, fully. Observe everything in your beingness relax. And let it out. And just breathe normally. And let's just invite that sacred heart of loving, who you truly are, yourself, your greater self, your soul, and all its divinity come present. It's always present with you, and now you're just bringing your awareness to it, remembering who you really are. And in this place, your thoughts get quiet and still. Your body relaxes and heals and feels invigorated, full of life. Your emotional levels become calm. And you start to feel that presence of well-being in every aspect. You start to let go of any judgments, criticisms, disapprovals. It all just starts to melt away. And you feel this buoyancy of joy, of freedom and liberation from all the conditioning, the past actions that you are not pleased with, the hurdles, the challenges, the illnesses, the things of life that come our way to learn, to grow, to challenge us. The things of life that we identify ourselves with, but may not be our true selves. For our true self is that connection with God. It is our soul. And in this, we are free and liberated. Feel that stillness. Feel it deepen. Feel the quiet. Know the peace. And in this, Feel that presence of divine loving. This presence of divine loving absorbs every part of you. You're absorbed in this loving. And somehow you know it's just the beginning. We'll just let that barking, because somebody's come upstairs, just let that barking, because there's always something, there's always barking. What's the barking? It calls your attention away from your heart. Pete? 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 Just stay present in your heart as I go get Pete. Come on, Pete. Pete, come. Come. All right. Keep your breath going. I always think when I'm distracted by something in the world, Pete, come. It's a really good practice. Because I don't know about you, but I feel even deeper in that loving. And that is the mastery. So with me, you get to practice that because there's animals and dogs and people in my household upstairs, and there is no room where I can go where it is going to be completely quiet. It just is not this place. And it's probably not very many of our lives because we're not meant in American spirituality to go live in a cave, but rather it's our challenge of mastering to keep the peace, to keep the loving, no matter what goes on outside. Whether someone is rude to you, or you're attacked in some nasty way, or a dog barks, or a plane flies over, can you stay in the loving? Or your boyfriend leaves you, or on and on. And all that goes on in life. And we are human, and we look at that, and we let our human, like a child, let it out, cry, pound the floor, and then be over. Let it be over. Just like a little child that throws a tantrum, and then the next minute they're laughing and joking and back to themselves. This is mastery. It's not that we don't ever feel anything. It's that we feel it. We acknowledge our humanness. We let the emotions have their place. And then we move back to the joy. Breathe in and feel that joy and stillness. And that compassion for yourself and all the slings and arrows that you may, all the hurdles and trials, all the disappointments, all the losses, all the upheavals, all the illnesses, all the things that humans go through. You look at yourself with that beautiful loving of compassion and empathy and loving. And you know that in the loving, although you may have gone through much, you are always loved. And in your soul, you have never been hurt. You have never lost anything. You have never been ill. The soul is always perfect. And this is who you truly are. Truly are. This is the part that is divine, that lives with God, that is eternal and is your home. And this is the part we bring forward in this life. We let our souls guide us, speak with us, and connect us and bridge to God. Let's take a few minutes in stillness to be with that divine nature, to be with our souls. And now, as you're ready, just feel that place inside your chest where your heart is. And does it feel stronger after this few minutes of focusing on loving? Does it feel bigger, stronger, larger, fuller? And that light of loving, even larger than yourself, touching everything around you, whoever you may be with, your animals, your room, your city, your country, and all the places. Let it go out to all the places that right now at this time need so much loving and so much peace. That the hearts that are suffering in sorrow and grief be filled with joy and peace. Feel your breath, feel your body come back to your room, to your body, to yourself. See you next time. Namaste. The blessings already are.